Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Like Us Pod. I'm your host, Erin, and we are on a journey to see just how relatable the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills are through these play-by-play recaps. But first, let's get into this week's Hot Mic Confessional, because I must confess, I have been watching the Traitors, and I know that there is plenty of Traitors content out there, but I must say this week, spoiler alert, Candace Dillard Bassett being sent home was not shocking, not surprising, but made for really excellent TV because on her way out, she got out Colton. And I felt like it was what we as the fans really needed. But now we need to focus on Rob and if Rob is going to win this game. And I do think that Rob actually will win Traitors. The thing is even when I watched Love Island, my thoughts on Rob were that he was a producer plant. Rob is an actor. He doesn't even know that he's an actor, but he has all the tools of being an actor. And it's what makes him such great reality television because he really is able to just give us a lot. And for a straight man, it's impressive. It's impressive. He's made to be a reality star. He's meant to be manipulating people left and right. And I don't know where Rob goes from here after the Traitors, but I do hope that there's a place for him on another reality television show soon after. He's excellent TV, 10 out of 10. Okay, now let's get into the episode. This episode of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills showed me that the show is finally on. It has taken a few episodes to really get us into a groove and to figure out what the dynamics are. But this episode, I feel like right at the top with this birthday dinner, everybody clocked in. Like, we start immediately in the middle of this conversation with Dorit and Amanda where she says, "Were you verbally accosted by me?" And Dorit asking that question is like so clear that she's telling Amanda that she thinks she's full of shit. But here's the deal. Like, Amanda had the opportunity to own it. She had the opportunity, in the words of another traitor, Lisa Rinna, own it, baby. But she didn't own it. She didn't. She actually deflected, and she deflected it to Kyle. And I do think that Amanda had every reason to be upset the evening that took place with Dorit asking a very intense question to Amanda when she was not in the emotional state to deal with drama. Super valid. This is Dorit's version of Kim Richards at that Amsterdam table. And I'm sorry, like, that's just the truth of it. Dorit was handing everybody the business. She was activated and she was telling everybody what she thought. She takes on Amanda, she takes on Kyle, she takes on Erika. And what I loved is Rachel being the voice of reason. Like, Rachel's like, we just need to be able to vent. People need to be able to vent. And I think that what she's meaning is we all need to stop being people's publicists. If Dorit wants to set her life aflame, let them. You know, I'm surprised that no one quoted Mel Robbins. Like, let them. And that's what I think that Kyle Richards ultimately needs to learn. And it's a process on this show that I don't know if she's ever learned, which is like sometimes you have to let people do them. Erika, she shows off her brand new confessional look. She looks like a blonde Morticia Adams, and she looks fantastic. And she's like, Kyle's got to stay out of PK and Dorit's divorce. And like, yeah, she does. She does. Will she? No, we've been talking about this for episodes now. Like, Kyle's not staying out, not a chance. She stays out of this. And I love that Bose chimes in and tries to have Dorit's back. And I've talked about this in my social media that I do believe that Bose and Dorit have a real friendship. I think that Dorit really respects and admires Bose. I think Bose allows Dorit to be her full self. She doesn't try to control Dorit. She's actually a little entertained by Dorit. And I think that in this friendship, even though a lot of people say that it's not real or there's something funny about it, I actually find Dorit and Bose to be real friends, and I totally see how it works, and I see how they can help and support each other. And in this moment, Bose communicates clearly of what Dorit is trying to say by saying she doesn't care if she's going to blow her life up. Everyone needs to let her do that. And Kyle is saying, well, I have your back, and I don't want you to do that. Kyle's kind of trying to be Dorit's publicist, and Dorit's like, let it go. I feel like this scene is giving us so much. Like, we get an Erika impersonation by Dorit. We have Dorit handling people left and right. We have the cult pointing out where Dorit tells Amanda, weren't you in a cult, when Amanda tries to clutch her pearls? And I felt like what's so funny about that is like now we get this beginning of Amanda being like, I'm an open book. I'll talk about the cult whenever. But we never talk about the cult this episode. So we will get an episode eventually in the future where Amanda talks about the cult. I'm sure of it because everyone wants to know about it. We also got Meghan Markle catching strays by Jen Till. Like Jennifer Tilly. I was rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. How dare you? Our girl Megan can't be catching strays on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. It was like the blend of my two worlds all together, though, when Jennifer Tilly called out Meghan Markle for not Googling Prince Harry when they first started dating. Maybe she didn't. Not everybody wants to know everything. Me, I'm going to Google. I'm going to look stuff up. I'm going to do just a brief overview. I'm not doing deep dives because who has the time? Like, I don't want to do a deep dive on anybody. But I will look. I'm looking stuff up. I'm at least typing your first and last name in google.com. At minimum, I'm doing that. At minimum, I just want to know. Am I allowed to say that? I just want to know. I just want to know. You know what I mean? Then things get out of control. Because Rachel Zoe, after telling everybody that we need to back off of Dorit, she is so emotionally raw because, by the way, in the episode last week, earlier in the day, Rachel Zoe's divorce got announced all over the media. So Rachel Zoe is raw. And in her rawness, she has a little breakdown and starts to cry and gets upset because of how hard everyone is going at Dorit for being emotional and imperfect. And Rachel can't handle it. Rachel can't handle it. She starts crying. And by the way, no one in the history of Housewives has looked as chic crying as Rachel Zoe crying outside of that restaurant in Santa Monica. She's got Chanel, her sunglasses on, her hair looks perfect. She looks so good. But she's crying, and that makes me sad. We do get Rachel in a confessional talking about that sometimes you do just need to have a little breakdown. A little Mariah Carey breakdown. Sometimes you just need a little bit of a breakdown. She talks about that. She breaks down in her closet, surrounded by Chanel. Sometimes you break down in the shower. Sometimes she says, I break down with my sister. And who among us? I think the best place for a breakdown, I think in a closet surrounded by Chanel sounds really great, but also in the car. Sometimes you just got to put on a tune and sing until it kind of hits you in the emotions, make you cry a little bit. And then you're driving in the car so you can just like focus. And I mean, you shouldn't do that if you're like really, really crying. Sometimes you do need to pull over if it's too much. But I do think a good car breakdown, underrated. You're so isolated, alone. You don't have to worry about, being interrupted because you're just focused on the road. Just focused on the road, baby. The road and your tears. Everyone leaves the dinner. They sing happy birthday without Dorit at the table. All the girls walk out, and we cut to the rest of the week. So around Beverly Hills, we see Beau's gifting her daughter Lael a $100,000 car as a Maserati. And I saw that the blogs picked that up, and it's like, if Beau's as a single mother wants to gift her daughter a fantastic car so that she could stunt at her little private school, you better believe she should be doing that. I love it. I love that Beau's did that. She said, my little girl is going to have the car that makes all the little kids at school jealous. And I like her style. Beau's, I like your style for that. Dorit is at home writing her book. Amanda's doing Pilates. And then we cut to Kyle Richards doing a wedding venue walkthrough. Now, Kyle has an assistant with her. And it says, assistant/friend, this woman named Jen. And I don't remember seeing this lady before. And it also kind of made me miss Justin Sylvester. Like, do you remember when Kyle had Justin as her assistant and he went by the lady sitter? Like, that was his lower third, is that it was like Justin, lady sitter. That was like so iconic. And I still love him. I love that Justin's been able to make a career for himself after being Kyle Richards' assistant. Because I don't even feel like that was that long ago where he was like her assistant on the show. But now he's a host. He hosts his own podcast. He's on the red carpets. He worked for E! For a very long time. His podcast with Blakely Thornton, The Yestergays. It's so fun. It's hilarious. They are such a funny duo. And I love their social media content. And I just feel like Justin is the perfect balance of someone who understands culture, the culture, and pop culture. And I adore him. And I think it's so funny that like that was Kyle Richards' assistant, her lady sitter. Anyways, there's this woman named Jen. She's wearing a denim skirt. And I think that's important because they're at a ranch. So she like dressed for the occasion. And what's so funny about this is that Kyle's like, yeah, the wedding's in a month. and we haven't locked in the venue because it was going to be in Aspen, and now we need to find a venue. And I just can't think of something more stressful than being a month away from your wedding and not having a venue. Like, this feels like rich people shit. Like, what do you mean you're just going to find a really expensive venue that you have to build things out a month before the wedding? Like, that seems stressful. We also get a moment to see the wedding invitation, and I never felt better. If you guys don't know, I'm a newlywed. I got married last March, and obviously, like, one of the key places to look for invitations is like Etsy or Paperless Post. And a lot of the wedding invitation designs have these little scribble drawings. And when they showed off Alexia and her fiance's wedding invitation, I was like, oh man, is she just a child of her generation? I am a child of my generation, because it's hard to resist those little scribbles. They're so cute. They feel so fresh, but everyone is doing it, so maybe it's a little less fresh. But I also love that she said that she was texting out her invitations, which was something that I was so eager to do. We didn't end up texting them out. We ended up sending them in the mail for the reason that Kyle talks about, of like, can the older people invited to the wedding figure out how to get their invitation if it's not sent in the mail, you know? And like, when you're inviting older family, you do have to send them an actual invitation. But anywho, enough about wedding planning. They mentioned in this scene, by the way, that Mauricio is becoming a DJ. He's like, I have time on my hand. I'm DJing. And it's like, ugh, baby. Baby, no. Baby, what is you doing? Also, I've been saying week in and week out, Mauricio needs to be selling houses. Why does he have time to DJ? Like, doesn't he have a business to run? Does he have a business to run? Why is he DJing? Get behind a desk, Mauricio. I'm sorry. Like, I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. Like, basta. When will enough be enough? And then Kyle's like, yeah, it's going to be momentum. And I want it all to... I want it all to stop. Kathy's getting an IV drip. Rachel just gets a shot of magnesium. And I felt like Rachel was so relatable in this moment, because she's like, being in town working in the summer is bad for my mental health. She's like, I meant to have a hot girl summer, and here I am slumming it in Beverly Hills with you broads. I'm working in the summer. Ugh. I should be on vacation. And she's not wrong for that. Like, there's no events really happening in the summer. She's like, why am I here working like a poor person? It's bad for my mental health. She's like, I want to be on vacation with my friends being hot. And who among us hasn't had that feeling? Man, in the summertime, being at work in the summer is so brutal. It's so brutal. You're like, it's beautiful outside, and here I am inside in air conditioning that's 60 degrees. I'm freezing. I have a freaking winter coat on in this office building, even though it's gorgeous outside, because I have to work. There has never been a more relatable moment than being upset about working in the summer. Like Rachel. Ugh, if I could give 10,000 points, I would, but that's against the rules. So Rachel does get a point for that, though. And then in between this scene with Rachel and Kathy, the editors did this really weird, like, on-screen graphic thing. Like, it almost looked like a Modest Mouse music video. Like, have you ever seen the music video where that Modest Mouse song Float On? And it's like all of these little graphics, papers, and then it's like these little cutouts. And then they do like a little curtain opening. And while I do appreciate the experimentation, I did feel like it was an odd choice. Now, usually when I watch the show a couple of times for me to get prepared for doing the podcast. I watch it and then I watch it again, take my little notes, all the things. And this is a scene I actually could not watch twice. Bose and Keely at home learning that their embryos will not be making them babies it was so sad. Like, ugh. And Bose was like sobbing, like she had to like go off camera to sob for a second. And I feel like Bose's vulnerability with IVF, although it's not a thing I've been through, I have known women who've gone through it. And she gets because there's nothing else we can do for her grief. I do give her a relatability point for that, because man, it's like you could feel, and she's not saying this, but it's like you could feel that she's like, I lost the love of my life. And now I finally found love all over again. And I don't even get to get a second chance to like raise a baby with this person, you know? And I hope that they figure it out. I hope that they're able to try. It's just sad that her eggs, the doctor was saying her eggs are too old. Like that's a bummer. Finally, the show ends with Rachel, Dorit, and Sutton at a lunch in Beverly Hills, and then Amanda and Kyle on a walk. And we're kind of getting these two scenes happening at the same time. So initially, I did give Sutton, Sutton's been very quiet. Like, Sutton's been quiet for a few episodes now. Like, she had her little moment in Sedona where she was upset with Amanda bringing up Avi. And then since then, we have not heard a lot from Sutton at all. Now, I don't think that's a bad thing. I'm sorry. I just don't know if Sutton's that fun on the show. Like, it's like we're getting so much without her. I don't know what Sutton's really bringing. But she did get a relatability point when Dorit arrives and she's like, I'm too lazy. I'm not getting up. She doesn't get up to hug Rachel and she doesn't get up to hug Dorit. And I think that's funny. It's like, she's like, this is good lighting. I'm not moving or something. I don't know what her deal was. She didn't get up. And I've been there. Sometimes you don't want to get up to greet somebody. You're like, hey, I see you. Hi. And you stay seated. Now, in this conversation, I felt like Sutton was a little behind the ball. Like, she was confused. Like, Dorit says something and Rachel Zoe says something, and Sutton's kind of watching them like a tennis match, going back and forth, trying to chime in when she can. And she felt out of place here. She felt like, I don't know, maybe her time has passed on this show. Now, I will say about Dorit now versus the Dorit we first met, who was kind of trying to be Lisa Vanderpump's pet, kind of getting silenced by PK, kind of trying to catch up to Kyle, kind of trying to create beef with Erika. That Dorit is gone. Like, Dorit as we know her is so different than the Dorit who originally started on the show. And I feel like not only has Dorit been able to keep things interesting, I think she's actually, through this process of getting divorced and her fight with Kyle and all of these things, I actually feel like not only has Dorit found her voice, I think she's learned how to become a main character in her own life. And that is what has become so interesting to see. I also like that in this lunch, Rachel Zoe is kind of pointing out how Amanda's gone wrong. She's kind of being clear on what's going on with Dorit and Kyle. And she also has empathy for the fact that they all know very little about Amanda. And she says, I will be the one to ask her these questions. I don't mind. And Rachel Zoe, episode in and episode out, is showing why she is a fan favorite. Now, like I said, concurrently, we're seeing Amanda and Kyle on a walk. And I did just bring up Lisa Vanderpump. And I can't help but see how Kyle has kind of become what Lisa Vanderpump was as she was leaving the show. Like, I feel like Kyle is showing Amanda the ropes, but she's also pot stirring. And Kyle has always pot stirred, so that's not the issue. But I do feel like last season we saw glimpses of Kyle kind of not liking the Dorit and Beau's friendship. And then she says it again, like, how come when I say stuff, Dorit doesn't listen, but when Beau says it, she listens? And I find that to be really fascinating because Kyle and Bose do have a little bit of, they're just not totally copacetic. Like, they have a little bit of friction for one reason or another. It's actually not clear why they do. Kyle was never warm to Bose. And then Kyle has this issue with Bose and Dorit's friendship. And I think it has a little bit to do with Dorit not being new anymore, not necessarily needing Kyle, her and PK not being together. So it means that their relationship isn't as tied to Kyle and Mauricio. I don't know what it is, but obviously we're watching the disintegration of a friendship with Kyle and Dorit. And Amanda's just trying to keep up. And not only is Amanda just trying to keep up, her lack of self-awareness is fascinating. Like, she's like, I don't understand what happened with me and Dorit. We started off so well, and then it just changed. And it's like, well, Amanda, you have to remember, you were talking shit about Dorit having a ghostwriter for her book. Yeah, you did that. So that was a little bit of the problem. And then I think she's also unaware that like she was kind of talking a little bit of crap to Sutton and Jennifer Tilly and Kathy Hilton. And so everyone kind of heard Amanda have these strong opinions. Kyle also heard Amanda have these opinions. And Amanda still is like, I don't understand what's going on. And I think that's what makes it funny is because when we do cut back to this lunch with Rachel, Dorit, and Sutton has her confessional, she goes, I don't know what's going on with Amanda up here. Like, she doesn't know what's going on with Amanda in her brain, like what her thought process is. And I don't think any of us do. But we do get Amanda saying one more time to Kyle, I could talk about Colts all day long. I'll talk about it. And then like she still doesn't talk about it. So like maybe one day we'll get the full story. We end the episode with Rachel kind of giving Dorit clarity that it doesn't seem like Dorit trusts Kyle. And maybe Dorit doesn't. Maybe she doesn't. Okay, that's the end of the episode. Now let's get into the scoreboard. So Rachel was the real standout this week for me. She had two like us moments. The first was working through the summer is bad for your mental health. I agree. You need to be in the sun and enjoying the sun. I couldn't agree more. Number two, Rachel expressing that sometimes you need a chance to just have a little break. You need a chance to just release your inhibitions and cry it out and tell your friends how you're feeling. And I felt like those two things were so true and felt so emotionally resonant. And I love Rachel for being that voice on the show in this way. Now, Bose gets a point for her IVF vulnerability. Sutton got a point, you guys. It's been weeks, but Sutton did get a point. Sutton got a point for not standing up to greet Dorit and Rachel at lunch. 1 point. So Rachel is our winner, which moves her up to second place. She has 40 points overall. Bose is tied for third with the friends of and Kyle with 35 points. Sutton is up to 20 points, which means she is still in last place, but she's closing in on Amanda, who has 25 points. And Amanda is just behind Dorit, who has 30. Now, Dorit started off on top of this show, and now she's kind of falling down the charts a little bit. Erika Jayne is still in the lead with 50 points. She's been quiet for the last few weeks, but she still is our leader. If you want to play along, head to erinjw.com/keep score, and you can have your own scoreboard. And make sure to follow, like, comment, and tag us when you listen, and subscribe to @LikeUsPod and follow @Erin Jones-Wesley. Thanks for listening, and I will chat with you all next week.